When someone stops reaching out, what it truly means. The silence that speaks. There was a time when their name would light up your phone screen every day. The good mornings, the random check-ins, the thoughtful good nights, those little moments that made you feel valued. And then, one day, silence. No calls. No messages. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. You tell yourself they must be busy. But deep inside, a question lingers: why did they stop reaching out? At first, you brush it off. Life gets busy, and people get caught up in their own worlds. But as time passes, doubt begins to creep in. Did something change? Did you do something wrong? Were they ever as invested in the connection as you were? This is a story of Ian, a man who found himself grappling with the painful reality of being forgotten. And through his journey, he learned a powerful lesson about human connections, priorities, and self-worth. The story of Ian and Zara. Ian and Zara had been friends for years. They weren't just close, they understood each other in ways that few people could. Their conversations were effortless, filled with laughter, deep talks, and moments of shared silence that felt comfortable rather than awkward. They had met in college, bonded over their love for philosophy, and remained close even as life took them in different directions. Whenever something exciting happened, Ian's first instinct was to text Zara, and she always responded with enthusiasm. It was the kind of friendship that felt like home. But then, something changed. It started subtly. Ian noticed that Zara took longer to respond to messages. Their calls, once a daily ritual, became less frequent. At first, he ignored it, convincing himself that life had simply gotten busy. He understood that responsibilities sometimes pulled people away. But as the weeks passed, the reality became undeniable. Zara wasn't reaching out at all. And when he did, her replies were brief, polite, but distant. He replayed their last few conversations in his head, wondering if he had said or done something wrong. Had he offended her? Had she lost interest in their friendship? One evening, after staring at her unread messages for too long, he decided to call. The phone rang. Once. Twice. Then voicemail. And that's when the truth hit him, hard. When someone stops calling or messaging, it's not always about you. Ian went through all the emotions: confusion, frustration, sadness. He wanted to demand an explanation. But then, he paused. People don't just disappear from someone's life without a reason. And often, that reason has nothing to do with you. Zara, like everyone else, had her own battles, struggles, and priorities. Maybe she was going through something difficult. Maybe she had outgrown the friendship. Or maybe she had simply chosen a different path. Whatever the reason, one fact remained: if someone truly wants you in their life, they make an effort. Understanding the silence. When someone stops calling or messaging you, the first instinct is to take it personally. But before jumping to conclusions, it's important to consider a few possibilities. 1. They might be struggling with something. People often withdraw when they're dealing with emotional burdens. Not everyone knows how to ask for support, and some prefer to handle things alone. Ian realized that Zara had always been the type to keep her problems to herself. Maybe this time, her silence wasn't a reflection of how she felt about him, but a sign that she needed space. 2. Priorities change. Life moves fast. People get new jobs, start relationships, or face unexpected responsibilities. Friendships that once felt effortless can begin to fade when priorities shift. Ian thought about how they used to be in the same phase of life, both navigating careers, both single, both figuring out adulthood. But things had changed. Zara had a new job, a new social circle, and perhaps a new perspective on life. 3. Lack of interest. Sometimes, the silence is a loud message in itself. If someone stops reaching out, it could mean they no longer feel the same connection. And that's okay, people grow, and not everyone is meant to stay. This was the hardest truth for Ayan to accept. He had always believed their bond was unbreakable. But maybe, just maybe, Zara had moved on from the friendship without saying it out loud. 4. Testing the relationship. Some people pull away to see if you will chase them. If a relationship requires constant effort from one side, it's worth asking if it's truly mutual. Ayan had always been the one to check in, to plan meetups, to initiate conversations. Zara had responded, but had she ever made the first move? Now that he stopped reaching out, the answer became clear. Should you reach out? Ayan had 2 choices. 1. Keep reaching out and hope things return to normal. 2. Accept the silence and move forward. He chose something in between. He sent one final message. I don't know what's going on, but I respect your space. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. No pressure. No demands. Just an open door. Days later, Zara replied. She had been going through personal struggles and needed time alone. She thanked him for understanding. But the truth was, their friendship never fully returned to what it once was. And Ayan learned an important lesson. When someone stops reaching out, let them go with grace. Chasing people who have drifted away rarely brings them back. If someone values you, they will make an effort, even if it's just a simple message saying, I'm sorry, I've been distant. But if silence is the only answer, then the best response is acceptance. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay forever. Some people are lessons, some are memories, and a few, just a few, are the ones who will always reach out, no matter how much time passes. The final realization. Months later, Ayan no longer checked his phone, waiting for Zara's name to appear. He had stopped overanalyzing what went wrong. Instead, he focused on the people who made an effort to be in his life. And that's the ultimate truth. You don't need to chase. You don't need to beg. The right people will always find their way back. And the wrong ones? Let them go. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Don't Give Up. Let's continue exploring life's challenges and insights together.